Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to English grade 11. I hope that you're doing well. Students, we have covered different SLOs from our 2 units. Now it's time for an introduction of unit number 3. So let's see. So this is an introductory lecture where we will be talking about all these different kinds of SLOs that we will be covering in the upcoming video lecture series. So the purpose is to introduce you with all these different SLOs so that you make up your mind before you attend each lecture. And each lecture is very much important, and I request you to join it, be very attentive and responsive, and give your valuable feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, you must type in the comments below and answer all the questions that are asked during the lecture so that all your concepts and your ideas are very much clear. Now, for lecture number 1 of unit number 3, we are going to talk about an SLO of vocabulary. Now, what do we have over here? It says use context. For what? For example, the overall meaning of a sentence, paragraph, or the whole text. A word's position or function in a sentence. How are we going to do all these things? Using the context clues. We are going to use the context as a clue or as a hint to the meaning of a word or phrase. For example, if we are having any unfamiliar word while we are reading, and this is directly related to our vocabulary, you come across a difficult word, an unfamiliar, unusual word or phrase. Now you're going to use the context, the whole surrounding of the text. It could be a paragraph or the different kinds of sentences before or after the word to let you clear off the meaning of that word or phrase. So we are going to use that. We are going to see what are those context clues and how you can apply it to the text in order to understand the meaning of the word or the phrase. So in this lesson, it is all about vocabulary. We are going to cover this in lecture number 1. And then for lecture number 2, what are we going to do is use all types of tenses correctly in speech and in our writing. All those different kinds of tenses with their variations, the present, past, and future tenses along with their different variations, and we are going to see them in real life examples of grade 11 difficulty so that you do not make any mistake while you're handling tenses when you're talking about something in different time zones and different times, like in the present, the past, and the future. We are going to discuss all these things in our lecture number 2, and let's see what tense we are going to cover. So this is a very general, a generic SLO about covering all those tenses that you need to know in grade 11 so that you can do better in writing and also in your speaking. Now, for lecture number 3, this is a topic of punctuation. What are we going to do is observe hyphenation conventions. Conventions means the traditions that involve the rules of a punctuation mark, which we call hyphen. It's like a dash. You're already familiar with it, but there is a catch. There are so many different rules that you need to follow in order to use the hyphens correctly in different types of text. Now, next one is our reading and critical thinking SLO, and this SLO you have already done in the previous two units. Now in this one we will learn something new. We will apply it and deduct. We will distinguish cause from effect, fact from opinion, for example, by noting the outcomes, personal comments, beliefs and biases, and generalized statements from evidence-based information with specific reference to informational texts. So we have a lot of keywords over here. Cause-effect relationship we are going to discuss in different scenarios, how something affects something, how can you identify causes and effects, in any research article, any text, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. And we are also going to see that while we are reading, which things are opinions. It means it is based on beliefs or personal comments, and also what is the difference between bias and opinion, etc. Now, we are going to see generalized statements from evidence-based information with specific reference to informational text, that when you are doing your analysis of any text, now you have to quote something and you have to refer to the text in order to justify and verify your answer, so that it is according to the text and according to the whole situation. Now, this is what we are going to do in our reading and critical thinking SLO, and this will be done in lecture number 4. So it takes a lot of reading, so be prepared and get ready for this. Now, for lecture number 5, again, we are going to cover something from reading and critical thinking, and this SLO talks about evaluate stages of plot development in a fictional text, and all these stages of a plot in a story, they have exposition, setting, climax, character development, resolution. So exposition, climax, your resolution, these are part of your plot development stages. We are also going to see how the setting and also the characters leave a very impactful effect on the plot. We will critique, which means we will criticize the plot development with respect to different aspects of the story. We know that stories are made up of different elements, and a story holds a plot, which is a structured organization of events happening, and we do it by following the 5 stages of plot development, which we will be discussing in this lecture, which is very much important when you are critiquing any kind of story, whether it's fiction, it's fictitious, or it is real. So this talks about stories mostly. This talks about the fiction, your fictional reading. Now, in the next lecture, lecture number 6, we will evaluate 2 or more central ideas of a text and analyze their development over the course of the text, including how they will interact and build on one another to provide a complex analysis. We know that when we read something, when we are reading a text, there could be more than one central ideas presented in the text, and we will see how they are developed throughout the whole text and how they interact and build on one another to provide a complex analysis. This is when you are reading something and you are asked a question of analyzing that text, whether it is a story, it's a poem, etc. So this comes really handy, this SLO. This lecture is very much important, students. You must attend it, and then you will be able to do a very good analysis of any kind of text, and you will be familiar with the central idea, how 2 ideas, how you can analyze them, and so on. So this is a very much important reading SLO. And the next one is our lecture 7. Again, it is about reading and critical thinking, and this is about having a skill to evaluate how the authors or the writers use language. What kind of language? Figurative language, considering the impact on the reader. We know that figurative language is not taken literally, it is figurative, and this is done by the writers or the authors, mostly in poems and also in prose as well, to leave an impact on the reader. So this is a very impactful kind of language. We will see how it is used and how it will leave an effect. We will discuss others reading critically, taking account of their views. We know that when we are reading something, since we are individuals, we have different kind of interpretations. We will interpret and see different understandings and critiques of our fellows or different big critics, so that we can analyze it even better and quote them, quote the experts and the critics in our essay or in the answer of our question. Yes, Aima, are you clear about the SLOs that we are going to cover? Am I audible? Yes, Aima. Okay, very good. I got your message. All right. For lecture number 8, after these reading SLOs, we will analyze how an author's choices concerning how to structure specific parts of a text. We know that texts are structured according to their genre, according to their type. For example, the choice of where to begin or end a story, the choice to provide a comedic or tragic resolution contribute to its overall structure and meaning, as well as its aesthetic impact. It comes aesthetic is for the pleasure of the reader. It is having artistic values and good sense of judgment of different things, which so we have different aesthetics as well. So let's review it. We will analyze that how different authors, writers or poets write the way they write. Why did they write like this and why did they not write like this, etc. So this is again related to your text, your reading and critical thinking when you're reading something, whether it's fiction or non-fiction. So we will talk about this. And next one is our, as usual, the oral communication SLO students, where you have to be very much attentive and cooperative with the lesson and respond to it, because this deals with your oral communication, your oral competency, so that you can be good communicators and conversationalists, as it involves both your listening and your speaking skills. So these are 3 SLOs merged into one. It will be in one lesson, in one lecture. Number 1 is that respond to questions on a range of communicative purposes. Now, when the questions are being asked to you face to face, let's say in an interview or in an exam, then demonstrate attentive listening skills while working in groups and taking turns to speak with standard pronunciation. Now, we know that listening is very much important and it is a very crucial skill that you can have. So we will see that how we can achieve good attentive listening skills. This has already been done. So we will take it to the next level and discuss more real life things so that you can be good communicators, good listeners, and so that you can respond. Next one is to engage effectively in a range of collaborative discussions. And the discussions, it could be one-on-one, it could be in a group, and teacher-led, when the teacher is the moderator and is leading the discussion with diverse partners on grade level topics, texts, and issues. So this is a group discussion. You can hold it according to the different topics that are given to you. So being a good attentive listener, having discussions, we will cover all these with examples, with simulations. So this will be a very interactive lesson and very interactive lecture that we will have, and you not want to miss it, because this is very much important in your real life application of all these skills. Now, the lecture number 10 will be on the competency of writing. We will use summary skills to write an objective summary of the given text and poems. So students, there are 2 kinds of summary. Summary is the gist of the whole text that you're reading, which you are interpreting and talking about or writing in your own words. You're summarizing that. But when it comes to objective summary, you are excluding all your opinions and your understanding aside and just summarize that text as it is without being subjective. We are going to see that the the rules of writing an objective summary. Then the next part is write a book review report. Yes. So when you're reading a book, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, you are supposed to write a report on it. Now it has different aspects and different steps, rules and conventions that you need to do in order to write a book review. For example, if you have read a novel and you're asked to write a book review report, make it into a report. We are going to see how we can structure the report like that and write a very good review following all the necessary steps that are supposed to be followed. So this will be that, and this is a very interesting lecture because when we are reading something, whether it's an article, a news story, or when we are going through different kinds of texts, fictional or non-fictional, then we need to respond to the text and we need to show our comprehension and understanding, and we can do it effectively only by writing a very good book review report. Okay. Lecture number 11, again, it's on writing competency. This will be very interesting because you are supposed to write formal letters according to the student's learning outcome, formal letters and emails to people in extended academic, professional environments for various purposes. Now, we are related to academics, or when we are in a formal setting, official setting, exchanging ideas or talking in emails, in formal letters where official and formal language is used for higher officials, for your seniors or people who are higher than in rank, whether you're working in a job, in a company, or you are in a formal business setting. So this is when we write our formal letters. There is a whole structure of writing a formal letter that we are going to see, and we are going to see different exemplary formal letters so that we are enhancing our understanding of that. So you will write a formal letter. We will learn that how we can structure a very good formal email, and this will be all very much professional and in the academic setting. So this SLO, when it comes to writing, it is the most important and practical one that you require in your academic and professional life. So we will talk about it in detail. So I need you to be prepared for this lesson. Start reading different kind of formal letters and emails, and then we are good to go and we will understand it even better. Okay, and the last SLO of writing competencies, where we have merged these two SLOs together. Number 1 is to write informative or explanatory text to examine and convey complex ideas, concepts, and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection, organization, and analysis of content. So we know that texts are of different type. When it comes to writing, we can write informative text, explanatory text, and also for the complex idea, any philosophical idea, any theory, etc., concepts and information clearly and accurately through the effective selection, organization, and analysis of context. We are going to portray, we are going to deliver our information, but in a very organized and structured way. So this is very much important that you provide information with the right kind of convention so that it is very much understandable and appreciated. The next part of the student's learning outcome, though it's a different SLO, they are merged together. Write multiple paragraphs or essays or stories, multi-stanza poems, or play script using mechanics of correct writing. So when it comes to writing, we are not only dealing with prose, we will also deal with our verses, with our poems. Yes, we are going to write multiple paragraphs, essays or stories using mechanism of correct writing. This includes the right kind of writing tools, effective techniques and approaches that we need to write correctly, whether it's fictional or non-fictional. So these two SLOs, the last lecture it is going to be very much important because it talks about your writing application and the most important aspect of writing, which is to share information or explain something. Now, thank you so much for listening to this introductory lecture, students. We have gone through a very short overview. We have taken off all these SLOs that we will be covering in our lesson. So stay tuned, brace yourselves, get ready for all the lectures coming ahead, because they are going to be very much important as an English language learner, and covering all these different kinds of competencies and skills that we need in order to be good writers, good communicators, good readers, and also somebody who has very good and effective grip on the grammar and vocabulary. Now, all these elements, these competencies, they're very much important. The paper will be from these SLOs. So you need to be covering each and every aspect of these different SLOs, which I'm going to teach you in the forthcoming lectures. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you on the other side with lecture number 1, students. So be prepared. Listen to this introductory lecture again. If you have any kind of confusion, you can reach out in the WhatsApp group or type in the comment below and let me know if you have any kind of trouble in understanding these different SLOs. So thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.